Good morning. We are decided to we've got to get back in our routine of doing tidbits. So today we're going to do a little bit of something a little bit different for you, but we thought we'd also bring you up to date on what is going on in our internet slash website world. Yeah, that was Marty.
That was a big old raspberry.
Big old raspberry. No, we think right now the website is up with our old company, but we're hoping by the end of the week it will be transferred over to the new company with hopefully much better results. I know some of you have been so patient with us, and we really have been trying, and Beth has been trying, but sometimes you can't fight City Hall. So, anyways, what we're hoping is that by the end of the week we'll be transferred over.
And life will be good.
And life will be better, if nothing else, better. So what we wanted to tell you about today is Kim Diehl is coming to, not to town, but her fabric is. We are expecting any moment a big shipment of fabric. What was there? 50 bolts out of the 60 are actually shipping. We're waiting for the other 10 for hopefully just another week. But this is the new Kim Diehl What's Not Club. And it's actually called Right as Rain. And this will give you just a little bit of idea. This is what we wanted to point out. It was supposed to be delivered in December of 2021. Now my calendar,
let me get my calendar out.
yeah, my calendar says it's a little bit off, but that's okay. So anyways, this is going to be the Whatnots Club we'll be doing. This is her new line of fabric. And then this is another stitch along pattern. If anybody's interested, we'll be happy to do kits for that. Now, and this is a very traditional Kim Diehl line. Very traditional. If you are an aficionado, this is going to be right up your alley.
And I know you can see on here if you can get close enough. The sizes on these are not huge.
No.
And a lot of people will say, "Oh my goodness, what am I going to do with all those small things?" I have these dotted all over my house
Yes,
I have
thrown over back of chairs.
Yes, for end tables, they just work perfect for that, and they're not hard. They're just really nice, small, quirky projects.
Small things. They are so typical Kim Diehl. So, anyways, we just wanted to give you a little peek at that. And as I say, the fabric is coming any second as we sit here and wait for it. But traditionally, Kim always on her Whatnots Club. Oh, and you don't have to sign up for the whole thing. It'll be a pick and choose.
Right.
If you don't have to sign up to do all, however many of them there are. Or was I going? Oh, traditionally, she always used to do a little bit of applique because that's Kim Diehl. But this time, she didn't do any applique in her things. So if you are interested in the Riverside Knoll, yes, she did. So it got us thinking, we haven't really done how to do some prep for applique. Oh, got too much sun coming, Marty?
Yeah, you're really washed out right now.
No, I think that's just me.
Yeah, we'll let the sunshine go for just a second here. So.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, so what I thought I would do is I'm going to show you a little bit of how to do some very simple applique prep pieces. Now Kim tends to use freezer paper with hers. I like to use heat resistant plastic or Templar.
Depends on the piece.
Yeah, it depends on the piece.
The shape.
If it's real complex, then you need to go to the freezer paper. But if it's fairly easy, then I love the Templar method, especially if you've got to do 150 of one shape. This is so much easier.
And there's no reason why you can't combine the two methods, too.
And this is hand or machine. If you want to do the finished product in hand applique, yep. If you want to do it machine, it works perfectly for that. So a couple things I want to point out, little tools that are really nice. This is one of my absolute go-to tools. Can you see the holes?
Mm-hmm.
Put it in front of my shirt.
No, I can't see it there.
Okay. These are like templates, I guess is what you would call them. And it's all different size circles, little ones, tiny ones, big ones. That's one of them. Who knows where I ever got this. Can you see it from there? Should I put it like that?
There, that's better.
My nose itches all of a sudden. Anyways,
Thank you for sharing.
A perfect leaf pattern. I think that this is probably from an art store or something like that. I don't know. But even down to little teeny tiny little leaves up to deep reasonable size leaves. That's another go-to. These we do sell. These are Karen K. Buckley's, and these are perfect ovals. And you can see they're all different size ovals.
You're making me ill.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to get them spread out. So that's the ovals. She also does circles, which we've got coming back in. So anyways, let me show you how these work. If you've got a little cut and press, a little mat, and a little iron, that's the best way to do it because you can sit on your couch, especially if you have to make 150 of a leaf. So what you need, cheap paintbrush. Go to the dollar store and buy the cheapest paintbrush you can find. starch, not sizing, you need starch. A little receptacle. I was going to spray it into the lid of this, but there was a hole in it. So we don't want to do that. So you just want to shake up your starch and spray some into your little receptacle, all right?
So you're just getting it in liquid form.
Yes, you need the liquid form. And then another thing, stupid thing, is an emery board, believe it or not. So if you are cutting out a shape, you want to cut it out as perfect as you possibly can. This is the heat-resistant template plastic. You want to cut it out as perfectly as you can, because what you see is what you're going to end up with. So if you've gone chop, 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 and you've got little nicks and points all over the place, that's what your emery board is for. And you just go along like this, and that'll smooth out any little jogs or whatever's you've got, points, okay? Imperfections, yes. Same thing on your circles if you're making your circles. If you think, oh, that's a little bit funky there, you can use your little emery board and get rid of that. So we're going to start out with a leaf. Oh, and then you want your iron. Now, again, if you've got a travel iron, that is so much better, because you're not wearing your arm and your shoulder out by hefting the weight of a big iron. So that, and you can buy those.
Yeah, and you don't want steam anyway.
Yes,
so.
And that's the other thing. You just stole my thunder, Marty.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you always yell at me when I do that.
My bad.
No steam with Templar, because if you hit this with steam, it's going to buckle it. It's going to go just like that. You can hit it with a dry iron, no problems. It's not going to melt. So what we're going to do is, I have cut out my piece of fabric about a 1/4 inch-ish bigger than my, can you see that against the background? Mm-hmm. About a 1/4 inch-ish bigger than my actual template. Now, if I was doing a wad of these, I would actually take my fabric and I would accordion it up and make a stack, and I would slap it on, and I would just chunk, chunk, chunk. This does not have to be perfect. This has to be perfect, not so much on this. So we're going to put that in the center. We're going to go to our starch and our cheap brush, and we're just going to put a little starch all the way around. I remember when I first learned this technique, it was back, there was a quilt show in Rushville, New York. Rushville, is that the one over by Naples? Yeah. And there was somebody there obviously selling the plastic, and I was just like, for those of you who like applique. All right, so my fabric is pretty saturated. It doesn't have to be soaking wet, but it's pretty saturated. Now, I'm going to use this, what? Oh, you gave me a look. Side of my iron. Watch what I'm doing now. Keep an eye on my fingers are not being burned. I'm taking the side of my iron, and I am pushing that fabric all the way over until that starch dries. I've got this on a cotton setting. And then I'm going to go again with the side of my iron. Can you see? Mm-hmm. And you see how that just lays that right along the edge of the Templar. Okay, now, no, I'm going to finish this side first. Okay, so then we're going to go to the other side. My finger is close, but it is not getting burned in all the, watch, I'll do it today. But in all the years I've been doing this, I have never burned my finger.
Well, you just needed it close on that first one just because you had the big lump to come up and over, too.
Right.
Once you got that one, it was, you can back off.
And if you get, okay, I'm going to do it on purpose. See if I can do it on purpose. Okay, if you can see right here, I will point with my two. Do you see right there, there's that little point because there's a pleat there? Don't like that. So all you do is you go back and you hit it with a little bit of starch, moisten it up a little bit, go back with your iron, and you smooth that right on out. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So that's what you've got. Now, back in the olden days of applique, what they used to have you do, and I'm going to, so that's how I like to do it. That's my finished thing. You pop out your plastic, and you're ready to do your next one, and you just start a pile of these. Now, as I said, back in the olden days, what they used to have you do, I should have done 2 of these, but I didn't, so I'm going to pretend we're going to, it was easier getting it out than getting it back in. Okay. What they used to have you do on the points like that is they would have you, can you see my, without my fingers, Marty? They would have you bring this point down flat, like so, and then you would bring this side over and that side over. Now, I don't know if you can see, if you can get close enough. Look at that point as opposed to that point. Do you see how much sharper this is when you push it all the way over? And what we're going to do, because, and plus there's a big old knob of fabric there that is not something you want to have to stitch through. So when I'm actually stitching this down onto my background fabric, I'm going to hand stitch, or machine, whatever, up to that tip. Sorry, I just moved that really fast.
Yeah, you did.
I'm sorry.
I'm really having a hard time keeping up with you today.
I'm sorry. Okay, so you would stitch up here. You would lock that point down, take your needle, and you would flip that little piece underneath, and you have got a perfect sharp point.
Or if you were doing it by machine, you take like a stiletto, something like that, and just tuck it under.
Yep, just take this and tuck it underneath like that. And look at how sharp that is. I don't know if you can see that better that way. Unbelievably nice. Okay, so that's how I do all my leaves or shapes like that. Now let's talk about circles real quick, because I don't want to keep you all forever. So we are going to take our circle piece, and I'm just going to rough cut a circle of fabric that's, if you cut it too small, you'll know. But I'm just going to cut it about 1/4 of an inch bigger. And then I'm going to take a needle and thread, and I'm going to just run a basting stitch, kind of like when we do yo-yos. I'm going to run a basting stitch all the way around. I'm going to pull up my thread. Nice
so the
and tight.
template plastic is holding the edges nicely.
Correct. And then good idea just to dampen that a tad. Pull this. Flip it around. Pop that out. And you've got your circle. That's how I do my applique when I'm doing shapes like this. If it's a real complex shape, then no, you need to do a different technique. But for simple shapes like this, which is what Kim does tend to use in her stuff, that's the technique she used. So that's just our little tidbit. And Janice, I hope you're watching, because you're the one that asked for this little technique tutorial. So Marty, can you think of anything else?
No, we just remember that this is coming. We'll have everything on the website by probably the beginning of next week.
And yeah, and if you have
Pricing
any questions,
and all that.
obviously, yeah, that's if the website gods shine upon us, which we don't know about that. So I'm thinking that that's all we needed to talk about today. We'll have more for you next week, but look forward to Kim. Bye.